Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 1, chapter number 19, text number 11. Nyecha Devarshi Brahmarshi Varya Rajarshi Varya Arunadayascha Nanarshaye Pravaran Sametan Abhyarcha Raja Shirasava Vande. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There were also many other saintly demigods, kings, and special royal orders called Arunadayas, a special rank of Rajarshis from different dynasties of sages. When they all assembled together to meet the emperor Parikshit, he received them properly and bowed his head to the ground. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The system of bowing the head to the ground to show respect to superiors is an excellent etiquette which obliges the honored guest deep into the heart. Even the first grade offender is excused simply by this process. And Maharaj Parikshit, although honored by all the rishis and kings, welcomed all the big men in that humble etiquette in order to be excused from any offenses. Generally, at the last stage of one's life, this humble method is adopted by every sensible man in order to be excused before departure. In this way, Maharaj Parikshit implored everyone's goodwill for going back home, back to Godhead. This is the Bhaktivedanta purport. Hare Krishna. So this is the specific standard of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam contains everything which is there in other Vedic literatures. It also contains some specific information which is not there in other literatures. So much so, it is a connotation that there's a statement which says, Vidya Bhagavata Vidhi. Means what? The highest standard of education is that which is there in Bhagavatam. So herein we see that there are various sages who had come to meet Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was about to leave his body. He had only 7 days notice. So he wanted to leave his body in an exemplary manner. He is no ordinary soul. He was the emperor of the entire earthly planet. Not only that, he was the grandson of the illustrious devotee kings, the Pandavas. Right? So he was such a great person coming from such a great lineage. So the rishis, who have nothing to do with this men of richness, right? The rishis have no other great job than, they did not come to the kingly order. So much so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that he avoided the association of Maharaj Prataprudra. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to go and meet the kingly people. But here comes the great rishis. We have seen the great names like Vishwamitra Muni, Bharadvaja, Gautama Muni, Angira, even Parashurama. Such great rishis, Vashishta, who are part of the Sapta rishis. Such great rishis had come to witness how Parikshit Maharaj is going to leave his body. So something, it's like a great assemblage has happened because they are going to witness something very, very important. What is this? If somebody is going to die, we should work towards stopping him to die, right? But here, the rishis have come to see how Maharaj Parikshit is going to leave his body. But on the other hand, what did Maharaj Parikshit do? He did not consider himself anyway great. Rather, he paid his obeisances to all these great, great rishis. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he had written his purports here in the Bhagavatam, he didn't just write it anything intellectually. He had even just not written only for intellectual purpose, but rather he has transplanted an entire culture. When Srila Prabhupada went to the West, he went alone, right? He had to teach everything to the new American disciples, right? So much so, this very well-known religious scholar, Indologist, and a well-known professor in Harvard Divinity School named Thomas J. Hopkins says that there is no parallel to what Srila Prabhupada has achieved in the religious history. If you see, what are the famous religions of modern day? We have Christianity, we have Islam, we have Judaism or Jewish tradition, we have Hinduism, Buddhism, like that. What Srila Prabhupada had achieved, there is no parallel in any of the religious history. Let us take this into a context. When Jesus Christ had preached, he preached to his own men, the men of same culture. When Prophet Muhammad had preached, he preached to his own men, the men of his own culture. He didn't have to deal with other difficulties of transplanting a culture. He only had to deal with passing the message of God. But in the case of Srila Prabhupada, he had to deal not only with passing on the message of God or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna, he also had a task of transplanting the old traditional Vedic culture and interpret it in the modern context. And Prabhupada did it not only at his scale, he has done it in such a industrial scale that within the next 10 years, when Srila Prabhupada landed in US in 1966, within the next 10 years, Srila Prabhupada had transplanted this culture and message of God across the globe in more than 100 centers in such a short time. And this religious philosopher, this scholar, Thomas J. Hopkins, Dr. Thomas J. Hopkins, who's a very well-respected gentleman, had said that there is no parallel to what Srila Prabhupada has achieved in the entire religious history. If somebody studies religious history in a dispassionate manner, in an independent manner, they will definitely come to this conclusion that what Srila Prabhupada has done is there is no parallel to the same. So let's understand with this one simple example of bowing down. Okay? So in the 10 commandments, Srila Prabhupada went to the Western world, right? He went to New York and he preached over there. And what is the predominant religion over there? It is a Christianity and Judaism, right? Both in Christianity and Judaism, what is the most fundamental thing? It is the 10 commandments, right? And in 10 commandments, the first commandment will be most important, right? Right? And the first commandment says that you should not bow to any person other than God. You should not bow down to any person other than God. Exodus 20.5. Okay? So now imagine Srila Prabhupada is going to that country where nobody bows down to anybody, right? Other than God. And not only that, Srila Prabhupada went at a particular time in American history wherein the youngsters used to consider, youngsters means those who are in the 20s. Srila Prabhupada's TGA, target audience, was the youngsters. He's going to go and preach to them. Okay? And the specific nature of this particular target audience, that's the youngsters, in those days was, anybody who's above 30 years, you should not believe that fellow. Because at the time in American history, America was at war with not some big country like Russia. Americans did not have that kind of a guts. So rather they fought a war in Vietnam. As if US did not have enough land. US had a lot of land. So much land that, if you go there, right, there is, acres and acres of lands are available for, you can get at a good rate if you go to the farm areas, right? Unlike in India, even villages are overpopulated. So there's no reason for Americans to go to Vietnam and wage a war. Right? But they see all these youngsters, who are being dragged into the war. When a war happens, whom you will send, right? You will send the youngsters, right? Those who are in 20s, go and wage a war. They are not interested in this battle to fight it out in Vietnam. So they hated anybody who is above age 30. And here comes Srila Prabhupada at the age of 70, and he is going to teach them how to bow down. So this is what Srila Prabhupada was tasked with doing it. So what did Srila Prabhupada do? Srila Prabhupada did something very simple. He just went on with his day-to-day activities. What was he doing? Every day he was coming to the center. Where was Prabhupada? In 1966 in New York, he was in a Bowery. It's a place where, people just, have drugs, drink, and then, fall apart and things like that. So they are not, it's not in a very respectful place. But Srila Prabhupada went to such place where people are so downtrodden, and now he is here to teach them about bowing down. So what did Srila Prabhupada do? He did very simple. He was giving, before he goes to give his class, he goes around. There are so many photos. There are pictures of Krishna, pictures of Panchatattva, pictures of his own Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He pays obeisances to all of those pictures, and then he sits in the class and starts giving class, right? Slowly, as the young Westerners becomes used to coming to Srila Prabhupada's classes, he'll start teaching few of them that they should pay obeisances to him, Srila Prabhupada. Okay? So some of them agree, some of them do not agree to pay obeisances. Okay? So one day, this was recollected by Brahmananda Prabhu about his brother, Gargamuni Prabhu. So Gargamuni Prabhu says to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I see that a lot of people are paying obeisances, okay? But I don't like to do that because I'm not getting any feeling that I should pay obeisances. I feel that if I do that paying of obeisances without feeling, it is nothing but artificial. So I wanted to know, is this fine? So you know what Prabhupada says? You start paying obeisances, you'll develop the feeling. See, this is what it is, something, intellectually being written over there in the book is different from, actually training also. Not only just written in the book, also Prabhupada was actually training the youngsters, young Americans about the same. So Gargamuni Prabhu later on says, I met him some time back. He says that, when he started paying obeisances, he started getting those feelings also. So sometimes, we get into becoming very, very mechanical, right? As Indians, we got used to going to a temple, okay, paying some obeisances. We get used to all of these things. But even though we get used to it and then, we forget the essence of it and do it in a very, very mechanical manner, we should not forget that the personalities who are receiving this are not receiving it in a mechanical manner. Once, Srila Prabhupada was in Juhu. That ISKCON Juhu temple was being constructed at that time. So because Prabhupada had insisted that he wished to stay in the same guest house, so they had finished the upper floors of the guest house so that Srila Prabhupada can go over there and have his meetings and things like that. So this I am talking about in I think maybe late 1975 or in 1976. So that was the time there were many big men were there. There were a lot of GBCs and the large donors of ISKCON Juhu were there. So Srila Prabhupada was meeting them. Suddenly, at the door, there comes a laborer. He was niggardly dressed. He had just cloth up to his waist, that's all. Okay, the top portion was exposed. He was a poor man. He didn't have any money. Okay, he had some flowers. So he was just standing near the door. He saw an opportune time. He just came in front of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was busy talking to others. And just puts the flowers in front of Srila Prabhupada, pays obeisances, and then goes away. Srila Prabhupada was very grave. He stopped talking for a while. He accepted that simple offering of paying obeisances by a simple laborer. And then he addresses to all the people who are there around. You see, such a simple act of offering flowers makes a person moved. So Srila Prabhupada was moved by that offering. If somebody says that, how is that, Krishna is going to receive when I offer my flowers to Krishna, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Sir, Krishna is not interested in your flowers. Krishna is interested in the bhakti with which you are going to offer to him. And if you offer to Krishna with bhakti, Krishna will definitely be moved. So we see here how Srila Prabhupada got moved by one very simple offering of that laborer, and that laborer got a lot of blessings. Right? So in our spiritual life, why is that in this particular Vedic tradition, okay, something not in line apparently with the 10 commandments, we make somebody to pay obeisances to a very saintly personality. Why is it that? Why is it that? Of course, we should not denigrate any religion. In Christianity, when in the 10 commandments, it is very clearly said that the priority of paying obeisances is always to the God first. Okay? Then when you are paying obeisances to the other people, who are thoroughly devoted to God, then that's not wrong. So when we say thoroughly devoted to God, who are they? What is their nature? What is the quality? That is clearly mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita itself. In which section of Bhagavad Gita? Right in the 2nd chapter itself, when Arjuna asks Krishna that, how do I know a person who is a sthita prajna? A person who is undeviated in his mind. How do I know? So Krishna gives the qualities of a person who is undeviated in his mind. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. That is the question asked by Arjuna. Sithati kim prabhasheta kimasheta vrajeta kim. Then Shri Bhagavan uvacha prajahati yata kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyeva atmana tushta sthita prajnas tadochyate. Who is a Sthitaprajna? O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Next. Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, sukeshu vigata sprahaha, vitaraga bhaya krodhaha, siddhadir muni uchyate. One who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. There is a sage who is having steady mind. What are the qualities of that sage? There are three things. First thing is, he is undisturbed by any kinds of troubles caused by threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? Adi Atmika, Adi Bhautika and Adi Daivika. The problems created by one's own mind. What are they? We get BP, we get diabetes, we get so many things. There's a huge list of new diseases, new age diseases caused by new age habits of, restless mind and so many things, right? So we have endless list of Adi Atmika. Similarly, there is Adi Bhautika Kleshas. What are the Adi Bhautika Kleshas? There are kleshas caused by living entities like mosquitoes, living entities like snakes. Snakes have poison, right? They'll come and bite you. Or scorpions have poison, they'll come and bite you. And then there are humans who are like poisonous snakes. They'll bite us more stronger, right? So there are so many Adi Atmika, Adi Bhautika Kleshas, and not only Adi Bhautika Kleshas, there are Adi Daivika Kleshas also. What are Adi Daivika Kleshas? The Kleshas offered by the Devas, like earthquakes, volcanoes, heavy wind, tornado, storms, and things like that, right? So there are Adi Atmika, Adi Bhautika and Adi Daivika Kleshas, and somebody who is not disturbed. Not that you get them and you tolerate. No. It's not the question of not being tolerant. You are not disturbed at all. That sage is not at all disturbed. One who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness. When there is happiness, he is not elated. One who is free from what? Attachment, fear and anger. प्रभु जी ऐसे लोग होता है क्या इस दुनिया में? Yeah, they do exist. They do exist. You have to search out. And one such great Acharya is our own, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So, our Acharya has demonstrated all these qualities. Okay? You can go through all of his pastimes. You would see that he has demonstrated all of these qualities in a in the highest form. So that is the nature of a pure devotee. So a pure devotee, if he comes, we have to pay obeisances. And once we pay obeisances, he will feel very gratitude, whether or not we are feeling. But what if we do the same act of bowing down with great feeling? So then we will be thoroughly blessed by our acharyas. So why do we need blessings? Why can't we go back to Godhead but by our own effort? Isn't it possible to do so by our own effort? Imagine this kind of qualifications one has to achieve. What is that? Not at all being disturbed by any threefold miseries, not at all affected by becoming happy, not at all, affected by attachment, fear and anger and such kind of things. And if you go on reading the list of things which Krishna says, oh my God, when do I achieve this? ये तो multi-life prongs effort है क्या? No. By the mercy of pure devotee, that multi-life pronged effort gets discounted to one life effort. Within one life effort, it is possible to go back to Godhead by the mercy of the training which we get from our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So when we say that, Srila Prabhupada has transplanted this culture of Vedic culture in the Western world, not at one individual scale, but at the industrial scale, it also means that we also have to follow not only just the orders of the spiritual master, which is very, very important, right? To follow the orders of the spiritual master is the way to go back to Godhead. And not only that, we also have to demonstrate by our behavior. Dharma stapana hetu sadhur vyavahara. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches to us, saying that how do we know dharma? Dharma is established by sadhura vyavahara. Prabhuji, I am not a sadhu, no, it's okay. Doesn't matter. No, you are all going out and distributing the books. You have distributed some, I heard just before coming to the class, I was talking to the devotee. Okay, just try to understand, what is the books distributed by our devotees. So he said, Prabhu, this time, our congregation, our devotees, our folk boys, they all have distributed so many books. I asked how much it was. It's some 2 crore, something like that he mentioned. It's like, I didn't had enough time to hear the, previous score and current score and do the computation, how much more it is. At least it is more than 40-50%. Okay. So means that many of you went across in the city, started distributing the books, meeting each of them, saying that you please take this book. This is for your benefit. And I'm going to give you this benefit of taking the books of our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So keep on going on, distributing the books. Ek din will started feeling that, yes, look at me, I am distributing the great benefit of whatever has been written by Prabhupada. The great benefit of going back to Godhead, I am going to be the starting point for you. So once, there was this washerman. Okay, the washerman was, carrying the cloths from a temple. He's not literally carrying, he's putting on the donkey. He's putting this cloths of God, Lord's cloths, and he puts it on the donkey, takes it to the riverbed, okay, and washes it, and then brings it back. Okay. So this is going on for quite some time. So one day, it was a little bit cloudy. Okay. The Lord's cloths were not yet dried enough. So then the washerman decides that, okay, let me collect these cloths next day. I leave it like this today. So while going back, the donkey stopped. It is not at all going. You know why? When donkey was carrying the Lord's clothes every day, everybody was paying obeisances to the donkey. Not to the donkey. Not to the donkey, but to the Lord's clothes. Okay. So, every day the donkey was carrying the load from temple to the riverbed and riverbed to the temple properly. And everybody was paying obeisances. But today it so happened that because it was cloudy, okay, so the washerman decided not to carry the clothes back, and nobody is paying obeisances to the donkey. And it started braying very loud. Washerman was wondering what happened. So he got the stick and started beating. So, when we are taking out the message of Srila Prabhupada and passing on to everybody's benefit, we should be watchful about our own consciousness. Okay? Krishna also says in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha. Can anybody point out the verse? I think it is somewhere in the, I think 20th or something. So it's a beautiful verse. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha. Yes, verse 19. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagdidagda karmanam tamahu panditam bhujabhada. Translation: one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by the sages to be a worker whose fruitive action is burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So when we are acting, even on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, when we are acting in our offices and home, to forget it. Okay? We'll have a lot of karma bija, we'll be struggling about that. But when we are doing devotional service, at least we should be very careful. We are going out and distributing, we are, kind of competing with other teams. Oh, that Mataji team had scored this much, now I will struggle more. No, this Prabhuji's team has scored so much, now I will struggle more. In Krishna consciousness also competition is there. There is absolutely no issue. In Krishna consciousness there is competition, but there is no envy. There is no matsarata. Right? And there is no ownership of action. We should not own up our action. Right? We should only own up what? Whether I have done my action dutifully. So one should do this every action in such kind of a consciousness that I am here to see whether my karana, that is my instruments, all my working senses, my gnanendriyas, knowledge acquiring senses and mind has been fully utilized by doing the appropriate pritak chesta and also analyzing the adhishtanam properly. This much I should do. Not that I keep on focusing on the result. My purpose is to focus on these 3 factors of successful action. Krishna gives 5 factors of successful action. Right? In that 5 factors, one is beyond our control. What is that? Krishna's sanction. Krishna's sanction and Krishna's mercy is beyond our control. What is there in our hand? Adhishtanam, Karanam and Pritak Chesta. And we are the Kartas, we are one of the factors. So we should constantly focus on our purpose of analyzing these 3 things and keep doing our duty in a dutiful manner. So when we are going around and giving the message of Krishna and his books and all of those things, people are watching us. You are representing Srila Prabhupada. During the time of Srila Prabhupada, the Westerners didn't had enough culturing. They didn't had enough culturing. So once one woman writes a letter to Srila Prabhupada complaining the very forceful attitude of some of his book distributors. Prabhupada responds to that letter saying that acknowledges those things and says that whatever they are doing, they are sincerely trying to please their spiritual master. Neither Prabhupada wrote to her to just pacify her. But the fact remains that we are representing Srila Prabhupada when we are giving Srila Prabhupada's books to every citizen, every person. So it means we should also develop that culture. Dharma sthapan hetur sadhura vyavahara. So people will judge us by whether we are sufficiently progressed in our religious practices by seeing our culture. So this is about the first section, about wherein Srila Prabhupada is talking about the importance of bowing down, importance of developing the culture, not only just left brain logical analysis of the the scriptures, but also the right brain of acquiring the right emotions and right culture. Now, another thing which Srila Prabhupada also here talks about is the duty of a dying man. So here Parikshit Maharaj, what does Parikshit Maharaj do? He paid obeisances to all the great rishis. So Prabhupada says like this, that generally at the last stage of one's life, this humble method is adopted by every sensible man in order to be excused before departure. So Maharaj Parikshit had a very great life, right? Had a very great life of an emperor. Not only a great life of an emperor, a great life of a thoroughly devoted emperor Rajarshi. So he had no mistakes in his life. He himself is a pure devotee. Such great devotee, he had no mistakes in his life, still went forward and sought, excuse. He begged, pardon from the great rishis and anybody who was there. Even Srila Prabhupada also demonstrated the same thing. Okay? I will read from a lecture. It's not a lecture, it's a conversation, which is a translation, which is actually in Bengali, which was on 13th October 1977. When did Srila Prabhupada leave this planet? 14th November 1977. So this is around a month before when Srila Prabhupada was bedridden. So he was, getting all of his god brothers. So there was this Puri Maharaj, Anand Prabhu. Anand Prabhu was around 85-year-old at that time. Okay. He used to do, full-fledged yoga asanas at the age of 85, So he was his Prabhupada's god brother. So they all have assembled there. Okay. So Prabhupada says like this, that I'll read. Okay. If I did any offense to anybody, please forgive me. This Vaishnava aparad, and by this richness, I felt little proud in my heart. I had to say so many things during preaching. Without that, it is impossible. I had to make sure that everybody should satisfy. Prabhupada was speaking in broken sentences. So Prabhupada is saying here that he was begging pardon. And so on and so forth. There is a lot of conversation. So Prabhupada says, I would request you all to hear. Of course, this is in Bengali. Okay. So, but still you will get some sense. This is 13th October 1977 conversation. So wherein Prabhupada says that, he couldn't sufficiently train his disciples in Achar because he was given so less time by Krishna. He was training them in Prachar. That is about the importance of preaching, importance of understanding the message of God and promoting the message of God and giving that knowledge to everybody. And especially in the Western world, whatever Prabhupada had thought, that is a sufficient achar. But when these devotees came to India, so there will be some discrepancy, in the achar of the disciples. So Srila Prabhupada was, begging pardon from his god brothers. So please forgive me for the vyavahara of my disciples. But of course, the god brothers who came to meet Srila Prabhupada, they never saw any kind of mistake in the actions of Srila Prabhupada. They said that you are such a great exalted Vaishnava. You are empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You are empowered by Krishna to spread this message across the world. Nobody has done it at your scale, and there is no offense in that. So, yet, Prabhupada made a point to demonstrate even that to his disciples, that he is taking the ownership of the actions or inactions of his disciples. So, on our part, we have to develop the right achara. So, that is one lesson, one life lesson. Another important life lesson out of this action is, why is that we should give up our ego at the time of death and seek forgiveness? See, everything is very, very scientific in our Vedic culture. So what happens to a person when a person is dying? At the time of death, what happens? As per our scriptures, and today it is also corroborated by a lot of scientific medical evidence, that at the time of death, just few minutes before the brain switches off, there is a particular part in the brain which will emit all your deep emotions. Whatever you have lived a life, all such emotions come forward. And the living entity chooses one particular emotion that becomes the cause of next life. That becomes cause of next life. So, here there is a culture, aspect of culture. You need not know so much science. You need not know so much science. You just need to know the culture that before I die, I should beg pardon with whom I would have made some kind of mistakes, some kind of offenses I would have done. With them, I should beg pardon, so that what happens? My ego will not be holding those emotions. My ego should not hold those inimical emotions. So that is the reason why this kind of a culture existed. Srila Prabhupada is an acharya. He is a pure devotee. He doesn't have such kind of strong ego. When he is, he did speak against his god brothers, because some of his god brothers disobeyed the orders of Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. He talked spade as a spade, okay, but with no inimical feeling, right? So, despite all of those things, Srila Prabhupada still wound up the actions of his disciples and begged forgiveness with his god brothers. So, we would see here how it is so important in our culture, just that not we have to understand things logically, we should also imbibe the culture. And if we imbibe this culture and represent Srila Prabhupada, when we are meeting a lot of people, people will just get transformed just like that. Because they are seeing you as parcels of Srila Prabhupada's compassion and mercy. So with that, I would like to conclude. If anybody has any questions. Yeah, please. Sorry? Yeah.
Just you told, emotions are gathered throughout the life. At the end, who selects one emotion for transformation of next life? My one question. Second question, why not most of the time a person is involved in Hare Rama, Hare Krishna? Why not? When he knows he is prosperous.
When he
is prosperous. He is wealthy. Even then, what is that? Why not Hare Rama, Hare Krishna attracts that much?
Okay. So if I have understood your question rightly, so first thing is that, why is that, throughout the life when I'm acquiring so many emotions, the test is at the end. Right? That's the question. Right? I have understood like that? So the answer is like this, that this is how the Lord has designed this world. That wherein He has not only allowed you to express your emotions and then learn the things, only wrong things. He has also given the scriptures. He has also given the sadhus. He has also given the acharyas. He has also given all the knowledge. Right? Wherein we choose the right action beyond our wrong emotions. We have to replace wrong emotions with right emotions. What are the right emotions? Prema Bhakti is the right emotion. Prema Bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jati. Right? So our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada teaches us this Prema Bhakti. So by learning this Prema Bhakti, we will replace bad emotions with right emotions. And at the time of death, when we are being judged, please understand, when you are being judged, the judgment is very, very impartial. Very, very impartial. It's not the current day judge, courts where you go and find out a way in which you can pay something to somebody. It's not like that. These are all, pure actions which are being assessed properly. We are assessed by our emotions, right? Emotions are the cause of doing wrong action, right? Somebody is going and killing some other person. Will it happen without emotion or what? Because of so much inimical feelings which got created, because of that thing only the person is acting. So those things come in front of you. Those deep emotions come in front of you and then you choose. Right? So that's instead of questioning the design, let's look at how do I replace bad emotions with good emotions. So now next question is that when Hare Rama, Hare Krishna is the real wealth, why is that people who are engrossed in earning wealth don't get attracted to Hare Rama, Hare Krishna? So the point here is Krishna has given freedom. Krishna gives the free will because Krishna wants to love us. You cannot love a person at gunpoint. It's not possible. You can love a person when you give him the freedom. So Krishna gives the freedom to even not accept him. Okay? So he has given such a big world, he created such a huge universe for us to freak out and try out every nonsense and get beaten up. And then finally say, Krishna, I have nothing else, I have only you. Right? What to do? Ours is such kind of intelligence. Just by listening we don't understand. Only by thoroughly getting beaten up. It is there in the 7th chapter in the 19th verse, no? Who is a Gnani? Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavam mam prapadyante Vasudevam sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Right? After many lifetimes of suffering like this, we ask genuine questions. After asking genuine questions, also suffering further, then we say, okay, enough is enough, I will surrender it unto you, O Lord. So, that is the point. That's how the Lord has designed this thing. Anybody has any questions? Okay, we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. Srila Prabhupada's book marathon ki jai ho. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai ho.